Okay, this is my election prediction. Now, I've got to be clear about this. Now, oftentimes when I do a prediction on any given issue, whether it's election or anything else, I'll do it when I say, okay, I believe I know, and here is my rock solid prediction. This is not one of those. This is, hey, we've got about 2 months before the election. Let me give you my best guess as to where we stand now. This is an incredibly volatile election, the most volatile I've ever seen. And so do not write it in stone. This is a snapshot of what I think the election looks like today. So then why bother doing it? Because I want people to have the proper perspective on the remaining 2 months in the election. I think that people who still think that Hillary Clinton is going to walk away with it, and by the way, that is still an overwhelming majority of the establishment and the media. They think it's going to be a cakewalk for her. So they've never moved from that position. Every once in a while they say, oh, that's interesting. I wonder, no, don't be ridiculous. But is Trump going to be the president? Of course not. Of course not. Well, I did the math on it, and some of that is based obviously on polling. And I looked to see not only where the polling stands today, but which way that it's trending. But then, of course, since there's a whole 2 months left, then you have to put in your own political intuition as to which way you think is going to trend overall. And obviously the debates are an enormous wild card. The debates are usually overhyped and don't usually affect the numbers that much. In this case, they might affect it dramatically because these are the two most unpopular candidates we've ever had. So who will come out alive from basically those debates where they presumably swing at each other all night long? And God knows anything can happen, especially with a character like Donald Trump in the race. So now, having said all that, let me give you what I got. So Donald Trump, what are the different states that he is going to win? I will go from least controversial to most controversial. I believe that he will win Arizona. Yes, Hillary Clinton is trending in the right direction in Arizona because there is a high Latino population there, but I don't think she's going to close the gap. Indiana, easy win for Donald Trump. Yes, Barack Obama has won that in the past, in 2008, but I don't think that Hillary Clinton's going to come close there. Georgia, some talk of, oh, she's closing in Georgia. She won't close enough. No, he'll win, and fairly easily. Missouri, he'll win fairly easily. North Carolina, currently Hillary Clinton leads in some of the polling, or most of the polling in North Carolina. I don't believe that will hold. I think that it'll go to Donald Trump. Then Iowa. Iowa is a very winnable state for the Democrats, but I think in the current environment, Donald Trump is going to win Iowa. And then Nevada is, boy, that is such a winnable state for the Democrats. But right now, he's definitely trending in the right direction in Nevada. I think he'll pull that out. And then, very, very importantly, Ohio and Florida. And I'll get back to them in 1 second here, but I'm going to give you the last one here for the Trump. Maine, in this particular district, Maine votes based on congressional districts. And so they do split their electoral votes, and he is polling ahead already in that one district in Maine. Hillary Clinton will win the other, so he'll get one electoral college vote from there. According to my predictions, Hillary Clinton will get the other three. So Ohio and Florida, I mean, that's as important as swing states as you could possibly have. Why do I have Donald Trump winning those? Well, first off, currently he is within 2 points of her in both of those states. And in the past, he has led in both of those states, and he is trending towards picking up momentum in both of those states. And given the latest round of polling, it's almost a statistical tie within the margin of error. And when you look at the historical trends, even though Barack Obama actually had a very large lead in Ohio at 6 weeks before the election, for example, he had a 10-point lead in Ohio. Even right before the election, significant lead in Ohio. And then he only wound up winning Ohio by, I believe, 1 or 2 points. And again, Florida by 1 or 2 points as well. So big leads for the Democrat did not lead to big victories. Now, Obama wound up winning those states, but very, very narrowly. Now, Hillary Clinton is not anywhere near as popular as Barack Obama. Obama, in the latest Washington Post poll, is polling at 58%. Hillary Clinton, nowhere near 58%. Now, of course, Trump is also unpopular, but he has an anti-establishment message that can resonate in a place like Ohio that's hurting. And so that's why his message works better in the Rust Belt, but has also done stubbornly well in Florida. So I'm giving him all those states. Now, which states are Hillary Clinton going to win? I believe she'll win New Hampshire, She had a 15-point lead in New Hampshire for a while after the DNC, but that has now shrunk considerably. Last poll I saw was at 6 points, but I think she'll still hold on to that. I think she'll win Minnesota fairly easily, Michigan. These are, so-called purple states from time to time, but I don't think they're very purple. Democrats do generally lock those up fairly easily in a national election. I believe she'll win New Mexico. She's got a good lead there in the polling. Wisconsin, similar story there. Now you're getting into territory where Trump people are hopeful, like maybe he could win Wisconsin if we extend the Rust Belt, yada, yada. I don't think that's what will happen. As I told you before, I believe she'll win the other 3 districts in Maine. I think that her lead in Pennsylvania is too large. At one point, I thought that he had a pretty good chance of winning in Pennsylvania. I wouldn't call that a lock, and I would have called Pennsylvania a lock for Democrats in any other election. But I still have it in her category. Her lead is still significant enough, I think, that she'll hold it. Now, finally, the last 2 states are probably the most important. Colorado. Colorado is a purple state. It can go both directions, but that's where she has a surprisingly large lead. Even at this late date, even as Trump has closed a lot of the states down, Colorado is still at a 10-point lead for Hillary Clinton. She's got to hold Colorado, and that's huge. And then the final state is Virginia. So Virginia used to be a red state, then it turned to a purple state, and now she has a more comfortable lead in Virginia than she does in some of the more classically swing states like Florida and Ohio. So that's the key right there. I think if she wins Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Virginia, well, as you're about to see, that's just enough. And by the way, I did not look to make this a close election. I didn't look to do the math as I was going along. I just looked at the polling and again, combination of my experience, et cetera, and I put the states in the different categories. Then I tabulated at the end to see who would win. And as it turns out, if I'm right about all that, Hillary Clinton, in a razor-thin victory, 272 to 266. It doesn't get any closer than that. Well, could get a tiny bit closer, but you get the point. So this race is so close, and anything can swing it. I mean, it's gotten wild swings already. Trump was leading before the conventions. After the conventions and after he punched himself in the face about 28 times, saying the most outrageous things, he was losing, and by a substantial amount for a while. Hillary Clinton had a nice lead. Now that lead has completely diminished. It's not totally over yet, but it has diminished greatly. And then you had this terrible weekend for Hillary Clinton. My guess is Donald Trump will be up in the polls very soon. And then you're going to have the debates. If you think this election's over, you're mental. It's nowhere near over. Either side can win. Yes, I find that to be a very scary thought. I think all Americans do, because these are the 2 most unpopular candidates we have ever had in our nation's history. So buckle up, because this thing is probably going to go down to the wire. And if the Democrats hold on, I think it'll be by the slimmest of margins. At the Young Turks, we believe in change. We believe we can change the media, make it more independent. Come do it with us. tytnetwork.com/join.